and then you start giving them value again. So that's what we at the value part. Y'all ready? Here we go.
All right, here we go. Value part. So,
let me ask you a question. Did you come here to listen to money or make it? This is L.A. Williams, the blind master. And Sean V. Bradley and I came here for one reason and one reason only. That's to fill your pockets with money. Now how we gonna do it? By giving you the secrets, techniques, and strategies for you to stop losing and start winning at this game called Automotive Professional Sales. Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? This is the one and only Blind Master, and I am pumped up, fired up, super excited. Who do I have with me, man? But I got both of the Bradleys, man. I got Miss Karina Bradley in the building. What's going on, KB?
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here.
Phenomenal. And of course, you know, I got the host with the most, the one and only Mr. Sean V. Bradley, CSP. What's up, Sean?
Man, I'm feeling kind of orange today. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling orangey. Orange. Yeah, I feel, you know what? Orange is delicious. I'm telling you that right now. Mwah. Now, listen, you know why I'm hyped, man? Because November was a record book month for us at Dealer Synergy.
Yeah.
Man, like, we just keep breaking records, man. Like, breaking them, like, bam. So
records are meant to be broken.
Shout out to all of our new Dealer Synergy clients. I got to tell you, this tour has been utterly, like, just crazy for the last couple months. I mean, from Baltimore to Miami to Las Vegas to St. Louis to Los Angeles to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I'm going to be in Boise, Idaho in the next couple of days. I'm back in Chicago. We're all over the place. Yeah. And man, LA, how do you feel that it is now December 1st and it is the absolute last month of the year? We're about to close out 2023. What are you feeling about that?
Yeah, it feels crazy, man, but it also feels exciting. We were scheduling things, myself and the CS team, right? We were scheduling stuff, and it was like we were talking about January, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's still November. Wait, what? It seems so crazy that December's not. It wasn't at the time, was not even here yet, but yet we were talking about January, right? We're gonna have to pull out that waiting list, Sean. It's kind of crazy, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna get wild around here. Shoot.
Yes.
Hey, Susan Chow said hello.
Hi, Susan.
Hey, Susan. Absolutely.
So for the folks who don't know, we are live in the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group. If you're not a part of that group, you want to make sure that happens because you're getting this on a delay, right? They get it live. They get it while it's actually happening. So I may not drop this podcast until, I don't know, December 15th, something like that, whatever the second Tuesday in December is, but you're missing out on it live. So if you're not in a group, get in a group, and if you are in the group, thanks so much for watching. Just y'all know we do these podcasts at totally different times, so it's not like there's a way for you to be prepared for when it's going to happen, but you can always catch the replay. Make sure you are subscribed to the podcast. Continue, Sean.
Okay, so what I want to talk about, this is very important. I wanted to bring in the big guns with our CEO, Miss Karina Bradley here, is that we are in a unique situation. We, being a consulting training company, we've been in business now for almost 20 straight years. It's mind blowing to think that we've been serving dealers for almost 2 decades. And it's interesting, the last couple years, we've been busy, but different busy. Yeah. It's not like we've had a lot of like urgency in like a year ago, a year and a half ago, because I like to joke around and say it's hard to teach people how to fish when the fish are jumping in the boat and they're super fat. And what I mean by that is,
I love that.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Is that for so long there was such a discrepancy with inventory. Like there was a huge inventory shortage, which pushed new car prices and used car prices astronomically high. So the dealers that were selling cars, we were getting list or over list for them. So think about it. If you didn't have a lot of inventory and you were selling cars before you could even keep cars in stock, you have factory direct orders, what did you really need training for? What did you really need skills for? People skills, personnel skills. You don't have to have a personality. You don't have to be nice. You don't have to be, strategic. I have it. You want it? Come buy it. It's list. It's over list. I mean, I'm not trying to demean anybody, but that's the shit that was really happening.
Well, when supply is low and demand is high, then there's not a lot of effort that's necessarily needed in order to sell a vehicle, to differentiate yourself. The process can be shortened by a lot because people are looking for a specific vehicle. And if you have it, you're most likely going to sell it.
How crazy is it to you, Karen, though, if you think about it, that for over 3 years now, the majority of salespeople have not had to sell. They have not had to develop a winning personality. They didn't have to qualify a prospect. They didn't need to know what are the most important, valuable, strategic questions. They didn't have to utilize a strategic or powerful customer needs assessment or qualification sheet. They did not have to pay attention and understand, wants, wishes, expectations, needs, resources, who's involved, what's the vehicle for, are there competing choices? None of that was really necessary. Right. They didn't have to do an award-winning product presentation, features and benefits, explanation. They didn't have to even do test drives. Matter of fact, Karen, would you be surprised that, people started forfeiting the desire to offer test drives? Sometimes it started from COVID because we didn't want to be next to people. And then we never got back to, going on the test drive with the customer. Sometimes it's just giving them plate and going.
Created some bad habits.
Some created a bad habit. And so we got literally thousands of automotive professionals that have never worked before the pandemic.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say, with the turnover rate being so high, if you think about it, there's so many new green peas, salespeople that have started during this
and BDC
time,
reps,
and they're just like, wow, this is fantastic. I don't have to put a lot of effort in, and I can just sell vehicles and make a lot of gross profit.
So LA, what are your thoughts about, like, why are dealers, like, our phone is ringing off the fucking hook right now, which we love. Keep calling people. You know what I mean? Don't call Ghostbusters, call Dealer Synergy.
Call
Dealer Synergy. Yeah. So, LA, if you think about it, it's like an egregious amount of dealers panicking right now. Like, I've got dealers calling, panicking and signing up. So I love that, but I hate that they're going through all this fear and panic. So kind of explain to the people what's going on and why they're experiencing this craziness right now.
Yeah, well, we all understand that the market is shifting, right? It's going maybe not back to what it was at one point in time. We basically predicted it, right? We knew that there was no way that it's just the art of the world and how it works. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, right? And so what happened was people got, as you said, really, really lazy during the time when things were easy. And now when it's shifting back to, it's not even hard yet. It's normal, where you absolutely have to have some sort of process, because if they don't have one that they have been using for the last couple of years, they don't have one that's been drilled into their people. Now they're like, oh my gosh, my people are just not knowing what to do with simple, basic objections, right? I mean, just imagine, as a car salesman, not knowing what to say when somebody says, I'm just looking, right? I mean, anybody who's been in the business for 5 or more years knows that that's just like something that people say. I say it when I go to a convenience store, like a department store or something like that. I remember going when we were a couple of years ago for our wedding, right? Walking in the store and they're like, oh, can I help you get something? Oh, no, thank you. And then 3 minutes later, can you help me find such and such, right? And so it's just something that people say. But car salesmen, if you've never learned what to say when people say that, you're basically starting from scratch, where someone who's been in the business for an extended period of time, which is only the ones who hung on, right? They have those skills, and a lot of our new people don't quite have those skills. They don't know 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different things to say when people give us the most basic of objections. So that's what I think the challenge is, and I think that's the reason why folks are reaching out to us.
Some of many of our long-term clients, this isn't phasing them. In fact, I believe one of our clients just broke a record today.
Yeah.
In November.
Yeah, talking about Bob Ruth. So Bob Ruth Ford, again, before the pandemic, they hit a crazy number that was just astronomically high. But then when the pandemic hit, business changed. They just broke an insane record. Guys, on November of 2023, yesterday, they closed out their month with 225 internet deals. But here's the catch. their internet department is doing 94% of their entire dealership's business. They are literally an internet dealership. Their entire business is internet driven. And I am just so proud of the Single Point Ford store that just delivered 225 units out of their internet department with only 6 BDC reps. And we're going to get to that in a little bit.
I was getting ready to say 6, and all of them not even in the dealership, but that's a whole nother conversation. We'll jump in that in a second, like you said, Sean.
We'll jump in that in a second as well, but LA manufacturers are putting incentives, special financing, rebates on vehicles. Dealers are discounting vehicles. There are vehicles that are increasing in dealerships' inventory for the first time in a long time. Floor plan is being, maximized, and in some cases, there's vehicles that are getting binged on interest, which didn't happen for such a long time. Mm-hmm. So dealers are coming into a new reality. The new reality is, oh shit, the market shifted again, and there's competition, there's choices, there's inventory, there's price reductions, there's price discounting. Oh, and our salespeople are less trained than they have been in the last 50 years. If you think about this, folks, just think about this. The last three and a half years have literally been the best and most profitable in the last 100 years of car sales. I'm going to repeat that. The last 3 years have been the most profitable and the most incredible success and growth in our industry in the last 100 years. So when you have this culmination of this magnitude, all in one little area, it's going to pop. It's going to pop, it's going to pop. You can't turn around and just be like, oh my God, this is great. And then it's going to last forever. There's going to be a burst. There's going to be a pop. Mm-hmm. And then you got to scrape up the shit off the floor. That's called your ego and your pride and your profits. Put it back together and start getting back to what made you and your organization successful.
Yeah.
And it's hard because let's go into the second part of this, LA. There are dealers that not only are having this problem, that are having severe HR issues now because they didn't want to flood the floor. They didn't want to have a bunch of salespeople when there wasn't, a lot of inventory, and it was just a good model. So now, people are quitting because, they're being held more accountable, not just in their behaviors, but in their ROI, meaning you are an employee of the dealership, are you adding value or not? Nope, you got to go. Yeah. So there's a lot more turnover than there has been in the last couple of years in our industry. And dealers are short staffed, and the staff that they have, here's going to be a kick in the whatever you got or don't have, it's going to kick there, right? Is this. Can you imagine that if you have a small store and you've been operating understaffed, under capacity, and most of the people you have are underperforming or they straight up suck? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a problem. Yeah. That's like the bad news bears. You can't, it's bad enough. Let's just say you needed 10 salespeople. Can you imagine if you only have 6 salespeople and 4 of them suck? And you're saying like, oh, that's not nice. No, bullshit. If they suck, it's your fault as an owner, as a manager, because you did not do your job and your due diligence to either recruit and hire quality candidates, or if you did have good quality candidates, you killed them because you didn't have the proper onboarding, training, support, mentorship, or the culture at the dealership was toxic. Or all that's good, but you didn't hold your people accountable. You didn't manage them. Yeah. And so things fell apart. LA, jump in. I see that you're trying to say something.
Yeah, well, you're really saying something here when you talk about the culture. So let's talk about what you just mentioned as far as HR. Yeah, people are quitting because that lazy good income is going down, right? So listen, don't think that incomes are down in the automotive industry, because they're not, right? Folks are still making great money. It's just that the folks who have skill are making great money. The folks who have been working and training and developing over the last last years, their income is rising, right? But the folks who just were milly mouthing and kind of just stringing along, la 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 la, like you say, Smurfland, right? If they were acting that way, then their incomes are dropping, and so they're having to find outside things to do, or they're just flat out quitting and going into doing something else, right? Which is, it's leaving a ton of opportunity. But let me tell you what else that does. When you mentioned culture, right? So just say before the people quit, listen, I promise you, people have already quit before they actually physically do it, right? And so now what they're doing is they're bringing down the morale at the dealership. There's so many places that are just, I'm, talking to dealers that aren't our clients, and I'm just like, man, and even if we visit them, I'm like, you can feel it in the air. It's so daggone. I mean, people are just negative. It's like, oh my gosh, like, what is wrong? Like, why y'all so cynical about the business? You can't be that way and expect to succeed in the automotive industry. And so those are some of the major challenges that folks are facing. And I just want to do everything in our power to help them get away from that, because that toxic culture stuff, that stuff is scary. We got to stop with that. So
Absolutely. Karen?
Yeah,
your
but
thought?
that comes back to training, right? Training the mindset. And if you haven't been through a time like this where you do have to have the appropriate skills, there is a huge gap now between people that have the skills and don't have the skills. And the people that, like you said, have the skills are going to thrive, where the people that don't necessarily have the skills, or they haven't been working on the skills over the last few years, they're either going to quit and leave, or this business is really going to, get to them because they're not going to know how to succeed in this. And if you don't have the appropriate mindset, if you haven't been building that along the way, your actions are going to stem from whatever paradigm or particular mindset that you carry through this time. So I do believe, though, that there is hope for those people, LA, if they realize that the industry, if you do get those skills, you can make a ton of money and get the training that you do need. I do believe that we could save some of those folks.
Yeah, totally. It's got to be. I think that saving. Again, listen. I remember back in the day, Sean. We did a whole bit about save the dealership, and I was using the voice, and I was like, for $2.42 a day. It's a cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you had the whole Sarah McLachlan thing on the background. How does it sound
stuff.
go?
In the arms. I don't know
Yeah. Can't sing
was
it.
good.
No.
Yeah, that's funny shit. So,
I feel bad. I always think of like the poor animals.
I
I
know,
can't
right?
sing.
oh no, you're too funny. So let's give another shout out to another superstar, Mr. Cody Carter. What you guys don't know is that Cody delivered 140 units in September, made $112,000 in personal income in September. October, he sold 126 units. And then last month,
that little bit.
Yeah. Oh, then you're gonna think he's slacking. He broke, I think, 110 units last month. But here's the kicker: he took 8 days off.
Wow.
He went on
How many
vacation.
working days were, and he only works like what, 8:30 to 5 anyway, or something like
No,
that.
he only works. Well, it's like he works from 7:30 to 2.
7:30 to 2.
Yeah. So Cody sold over 100 units last month on the showroom floor with one assistant. But he had 8 days off. I think he had 5 days for vacation. He had 3 sick days. So he literally had 8 days off and still sold 100 plus cars.
It's crazy.
With 8 days off.
Wow.
Yeah, it's wild.
So my whole point here is there is a difference. I'm not saying that everybody is going to be a Bob Ruth Ford department. I'm not saying everybody's going to be a Cody Carter or a Chrissy Burton or a T Got Your Keys or anything like that. What I will say, though, is that since these people exist in our industry, because these dealer groups, these dealerships, these automotive professionals, these managers, they exist and they're doing these type of numbers. It gives everybody else in the industry, in the community, the opportunity to do more than what they're doing already.
It proves it's possible.
It proves
happening.
It's happening right now. It's not theory. It's not an idea. It's not a hope. It's not a goal. This shit is happening right now. So what you've got to do is if to all of our listeners, okay, you just got to pay attention and just do like a real simple reconciliation. So Karen, with her accounting and background, I mean, when you reconcile your bank accounts, your income statements, your balance sheet, it's really simple. Look at your dealership right now, and you got to ask yourself a couple of basic questions, simple questions. Especially this month, it's the end of the year. You don't want to go into 2024 all fucked up, right? You want to go into 2024 the right way. Ask yourself, do I have the right team? Well, how do you answer that question? Well, do I have enough people?
Well, I think for answering that question, there's a simple way to do that. You can look at your team and say, if given the opportunity today, would I hire these folks again?
Ooh.
And if the answer is yes, then you know you have the right people. If the answer is no, then you know you have the wrong people. Or maybe there's a little in between, and that might be where you need to create and mend that gap where it just might be that they don't have the necessarily skills right now in order to be the right people.
Gotcha. So let me ask y'all something real quick, because I know in a couple of months, around April sometime, we've got something going on where people can come to really start to develop those skills and protect themselves from the future of having some of these challenges. Can y'all talk about that real quick?
Yeah, so we have our upcoming Internet Sales 20 Group 15, also known as the IS20G. It is one of the most successful, one of the most powerful, one of the most value-packed conferences in the entire automotive industry. I mean, you have to admit, having a conference in the same franchise for 16 straight years shows how powerful this event is. We've literally been hosting the IS20G conference. This will be our 15th annual event. It's going to be April 15th to the 17th in beautiful Baltimore, Maryland. Our keynote speaker is going to be none other than Damian Mills, the dealer principal of 27 rooftops. He just purchased the majority share of the Charlotte Hornets from Michael Jordan. He's the only Bentley African-American dealer in the world. He's got Bentley, Porsche, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and every other manufacturer that's out there. He's also the chairman of the board for the National Association of Minority Automobile Dealers. We have literally going to have the most incredible keynote speakers, celebrity speakers, people outside the automotive industry. We're going to have the top people in the automotive industry. Cody Carter is going to be a featured speaker, Chrissy Burton. So we have the number one male and number one female car salespeople in the world. We're going to have dealer groups, dealer principals, GMs, and all the subject matter experts that you could think about. And some of our current sponsors, and we just opened up the books, are companies like AutoWeb. AutoWeb's been our sponsor for 20 years. Even before I started this conference, I did another one. They were sponsoring that. We also have our title sponsor. Shout out to
Search Lab.
Search Lab. Shout out to Don and our amazing guy, Greg Gifford from there. We have Call Review is a big sponsor, diamond sponsor, Call Review. Shout out to their new CEO, Ben. And then obviously Kelly Kolopoulos and Dave and the rest of the team at Call Review. VinQ is another diamond sponsor. Shout out to Danny Zalowski and the entire VinQ team. So just to give some perspective, LA, VinQ specializes in acquisitions, used cars, inventory, that type of thing. Call Review is the world's best technology for call tracking, call monitoring, and call success. AutoWeb is a third-party provider. Shout out to Vin Solutions. Vin Solutions is one of our, top sponsors. They're, one of the top CRM companies. 700 Credit. Shout out to Bob Lettuce and the team.
Yep, get your lettuce up.
Credit. Dealer eProcess, the absolute best websites and, web performance, APIs and things like that. And again, we have so many more sponsors, but again, what you're going to learn, LA, and what dealers are going to learn is synergy. It's modeled off of a traditional 20 group with composites, collaboration, and synergy. So we're going to have over 200 rooftops in one room, and we're going to have, sessions. There is no exhibit hall. There is no breakout sessions. That to me is like a big China buffet. It gets you full, but it's not a 5-star meal,
And I think it creates segregation, right? When you do it that way, especially if you separate the vendors from the participants, where really you should look at it more of a way to be able to network and grow your network with these amazing companies. And all of these companies they're super nice people that represent them, that are always willing to help, even if you don't pull out your wallet and, purchase a product. They're always there to lean on for any type of challenges or questions, or just, education in general. So being able to connect over 3 days and just be in the same room with each other and share the experience, you're going to walk away just with an increased network.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, go ahead, Sean, close it out. Tell them something, because I got something I just want to close out on the end.
Well, we've got more time. I'm not closing out right here. So this is my show.
You
know what I mean?
misunderstood. I'm talking about this particular spot.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with this, man, because I think this
show.
is really important as we joke around about this, is that, folks, synergy and collaboration and interdependence are the strongest forces in the human nature. When you have synergy, when you've got, interdependence, when you've got collaboration, when you've got networking, that is the strongest force, especially in business. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring the country's most elite dealerships and dealer groups. I'm talking about multi-billion-dollar dealer groups, publicly traded dealerships. The number one this, the number one that, the best of this, the best of that.
People that you may not have the opportunity to get in the same room with.
100%, and then the number one salesperson, number one female salesperson, number one influencers, the number one in service, the number one in internet, the number one in BDC, the number one in call centers. These people are going to be there. These dealers, managers, and owners are going to be there like a 20 group to network, to synergize, to problem solve, to share, to collaborate, to ask questions, to give mentorship and give advice. Then we're bringing my friends from the National Speakers Association, New York Times bestselling authors, celebrity people are going to come to be able to share their motivation, their inspiration, their subject matter expertise. And then we're going to have the top vendors and partners and technology experts in the automotive industry. We're going to talk about things like AI, of course, artificial intelligence, automation, CRM, video, and all the technology that's going to help you generate opportunities, generate prospects, engage and communicate with those prospects, make appointments, and sell cars. The whole premise of this 3-day training conference is to help you sell more cars more often, more profitably. We're going to specialize in internet, BDC, CRM, digital marketing, social media, video, conventional showroom sales, and pretty much everything automotive. Right. But it is so powerful, from the speaking sessions to the panels to the roundtables to the subject matter details, the award ceremony, and of course the NADA style rock star VIP party. LA, before I turn it over to you, the show police, I forgot you're the popo, right? This is also our 20-year anniversary that we've been in business, and it's my queen's birthday. My wife's birthday is April 13th. Dealer Synergy was incorporated coincidentally on April 13th as well. So this is my wife's birthday. It's my baby, the company's birthday, Dealer Synergy's birthday. Mm-hmm. And so that's why, a couple days later, April 15th to the 17th, we're celebrating all this. We're celebrating you. We're celebrating the industry. We're celebrating my wife's birthday. We're celebrating Dealer Synergy's birthday. It's going to be one incredible information entertainment session.
Absolutely. And so if you want to be a part of that, listen, I'm going to tell you, there's going to be a link that's pinned at the top of the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group. So you just click that link. We actually got some discount codes already prepared for you. So just go ahead and click that. And on the IS20G Facebook page, right? I'm going to have Tiana pin something there. So it's on Eventbrite. Unfortunately, you can't just go there and subscribe, because go there and search for it, because it's a secret kind of event. We can't have everybody there, right? It got to be our specific listener. So if you want to, make sure you go and click that link. And if for some strange reason you can't find it, you can reach out to me. Just text me, LA Williams, at 267-551-6279. I'll send you the link directly, and make sure you get hooked up.
All right. So now we're still going, LA. I'm not done. I got other stuff to say.
So this is funny, right? So listen, so let's just kind of take a break quick. So I come from a media background, and so I understand how this stuff got to be put together. Sean, I wasn't shutting you down, man. This was only the halfway point. You know what I'm saying? That's when you say, hey, you know, with that being said, hey, can we talk about some sort of event that we have going on? Then we talk about that for about 60, maybe 70 seconds, right? And then we go, okay, cool. So if you want to be a part of that, here's what you got to do. Give them the call to action, and then you start giving them value again. So that's what we at the value part. Y'all ready? Here we go.
All right, here we go. Value part. So I want to just put this out there to our audience. I'm always looking for amazing people like you. So if you have an interest to be a speaker or to be a panelist of the upcoming IS20G LA, what do they text you? Do they email you? How do they get a hold of you if they want to be considered to be a speaker or a panelist, you know, for the upcoming IS20G? I'm looking for dealers, automotive professionals, BDC reps, or managers or owners. I'm not talking about vendors. I'm looking for, I want to know if you work at a dealership, manage a dealership, or own a dealership, if you've got any successes, anything that you should be recognized for, anything that you're proud of, any best practice, any idea, any technology working for you, I want to know about it, and I want you to share it with our community at our upcoming conference. LA, you want to build on that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same situation. You guys just text me at the number that I gave. It's 267-551-6279. Text me the word either speaker, text me the word panelist, whatever it is that you are attempting to be connected with us with, and we'll just have a conversation about it. And listen, just so y'all know, I've had that number for a while, so a bunch of people are like reaching out to me. I'm going to be changing that number come 2024. So make sure that you take advantage of the simple fact that you got my number right now, because I'm going to switch over to an 856 number come 2024. So just let everybody know.
Let me find out. All right, so let's go into this. You know what's some value to? Here's something. We're just all over the place with some stuff, but I got to tell you that another big problem that I'm seeing, besides the people are like freaking out, like the sky's falling, you know what I mean? Don't worry. I got the umbrellas though. You know what I'm saying?
Let's go.
You know, is also the HR. I can't tell you just in the last week how many people have called us for recruiting staffing. You know what I mean? Because they lost their internet director. They lost this person, they lost that person, or this person's not working out, or this person's holding me hostage, or this person is underperforming. I'm going to just tell you an idea that's fucking unreal. This whole out of the country stuff is working so well. We've got a lot of dealers that we've helped place agents from the Philippines and from other countries like Belize. I'm from Belize. And so these people are not like those horrible experiences you had with American Express call centers. The people that we're working with are, first of all, there is no middle company. Okay, this is not an outsourced BDC in a different country. Understand, I'm going to repeat that 2 more times. This is not an outsourced BDC in another country. One more time. This is not an outsourced BDC in another country. This isn't a middle person. This isn't a company. This isn't anything other than what we are finding is working a lot is we're working with dealerships. I've got dealerships in St. Louis. I got dealerships in New Jersey. I got dealerships in Pennsylvania. I got dealerships in New Mexico, for example, and they all have agents, employees that live in the Philippines or Belize, for example, and they get to pay them. It has to do with the state law. Like in Pennsylvania, you only have to pay the minimum wage. So what's minimum wage in Pennsylvania? Like $7.25 or something crazy? It's less than $8 an hour. Okay, so they're literally paying high-level people that have master's degrees or at least bachelor's degrees that speak fluent English with barely or like literally no accent whatsoever, you know, to be BDC reps overseas. And then so they're spending a fraction of the cost. Let me put this in perspective. In California, with the $15,
$7.25.
Yeah, Pennsylvania is $7.25. So to hire these people, and Karen, can you explain, because you're the accounting person, like their W-8 employees, how does that work?
Yeah, so they would be more like independent contractors. So they would have to complete a W-8 form, which basically means that they're not going to be responsible for paying taxes here in the States. So yeah, they don't look for much, a handbook, maybe a contract, just setting proper expectations for like hours, and job role responsibilities, things like
Breaks,
that.
hours,
Yeah,
breaks.
breaks. How do they submit their hours? How do they clock in? How do they clock out? How do they call off if they need to? Although I will say that these people are super committed and probably aren't going to call off nearly as much as someone here. And yeah, the W-8 is what they would need, and then you figure out how to pay them.
And
So,
these people, and it's usually PayPal.
like a PayPal.
And these
Mhm.
people don't they don't work time and a half. They don't work holiday pay.
They don't
Again,
get they don't
they don't
qualify
they
for
don't
benefits.
they don't qualify for benefits. And here's what I'm finding LA, which is really cool. What drives me crazy is that I know that prime time to connect on the phones is between 6 and 8 p.m. So down south, a lot of dealers close at 6 or 7 o'clock, and it's their culture, it's the employees, it's this and that. Even some dealers in New Jersey close at like 7 o'clock sometimes now. And I'm like, guys, this is prime time. So I've got dealers using full teams. I got one dealer group that owns 6 stores that has 36 BDC reps in the Philippines. They've got 36 BDC reps in the Philippines, and they're crushing it. That's one dealer group. I've got one that has people that they're using now for like their off hours. So they're in their state that they're legally allowed to be open on Sundays, but they normally don't open on Sundays because of their personal beliefs.
Mhm.
But now they're able to have the Philippine team, reach out on Sundays, reach out on Saturdays, reach out sometimes on third shift. Like, let's say, for example, if you live near a military base, like in Charlotte, North Carolina, you got Fort Bragg that's over there. There's a lot of soldiers and like that. They might be deployed, it might be here, it might be there, but their address is, in North Carolina. So they have third shift. So they're utilizing these people not just because they're cheap. I want you to understand this. It's because of the caliber of people that they're getting.
They're reliable.
They're reliable. They're sophisticated. They're intelligent. They're dedicated. They've got bachelor's degrees, sometimes master's degrees. And what's hilarious, we've got one from one of our clients that's trilingual. They're in the Philippines. They're Filipino, but they speak fluent English and fluent Spanish. The dealership doesn't even have Spanish employees in the city that they're in the United States. So they have an outsourced BDC rep that's in, the Philippines that speaks Spanish and English. So what they're doing is, instead of only having budget or the desire to spend for 1 or 2 BDC reps here, they could get double or triple the amount of staff over there that's better quality, better motivated, more respectful, takes a job more seriously, more appreciative, and more determined to make this thing work.
And they're using it to enhance their business operations. Right?
Exactly.
Not necessarily replace, but enhance. So to be able to extend those hours, to be able to have more coverage, to be able to capture more business that you wouldn't if, it's in the middle of the night.
And before I turn this over to LA, because LA works and trains these people directly, I'm going to tell you, my entire career, I've always poo-pooed and have never been a fan of outsourced BDCs. So I want to make sure that everybody understands what I'm saying. This is not an outsourced BDC. There is no third-party BDC company. These are literally agents directly employed by the dealership. LA, can you elaborate on the concept here and then just talk to the people specifically what it's been like working with the Filipino team and how surprised, if any, are you at how successful they are?
Yeah. And so I'm not surprised at all. For me, I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of these people, meeting via Zoom, and have conversations with them before they get started at the dealership. And so, you get to learn their personalities, and they're just like, they're regular people, man, but they do have a desire to win. They call them, like nighttime warriors, right? Because while it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon here, it's 1 o'clock in the morning there, and so they work what's basically overnight. But yet, man, it's extra income for them. It's a way for them to support their families, and they don't play that stuff. They don't. Some of the laziness that us here in the U.S. Experience, they ain't about that life at all, right? They're all about their business. And They're super coachable, man. I'm telling you, they are the kind of people where if you don't like what they're doing, you can tell them, and they're not going to get their feelings hurt, right? They're not going to be, oh, when you talk to me like that, I'm going to sue and I'm going to do this and I'm like, they're not acting like that, right? They're actually saying, hey, you know what? I love the coaching. I want the coaching. Please tell me what I can do better. How can I be better for the company, right? They're actually sometimes more company people than our very own people who walk in and drink our water and turn on our lights and piss in our bathrooms, right?
I know for like a lot of my academy classes, I'll have a ton of them are on that because you could just tell that they just want to learn and be better.
Yeah.
What I also want to tell you what's hilarious, okay? Because I'm a minority, so like I'm not throwing any shots out there, so don't cancel Sean Bradley here. You know what I mean? My dad was born in a different country. I'm first generation here. So with that being said, some of the negativity you hear is because you had bad experiences with these shitty call centers in American Express. These are not call centers. These are individual people.
I'm going to admit, when I first heard of the idea, I wasn't so sure, just because, like you said, based on that experience, we talk about Coveyism, right? Our paradigms are based on our past experiences. And because of having those negative experiences where they don't understand you, they're not hearing you, you automatically think, wait, no, this isn't for me. But once we actually set up some conversations with some of these folks, it changed my perception for sure.
What I would say to you is the funny part for me is some of these people have flawless flawless accents.
They do.
So I'm like, it's trippy.
You're like, wait a second, who am I talking to?
Yeah. And so there are a lot of dealers that have employees in the United States, New York, LA, Chicago, Texas, or like little, small towns that have way more severe accents, whether it's a Southern drawl accent or it's a New York accent, or what are you talking about accent, or it's an ethnic it's an ethnic accent. There's a lot of that on here, but I would just say this is my free advice to you guys, and here's how much I believe in this. We are literally building out a BDC to like reach out to dealers and sell dealers appointments. I'm not going to have the Filipino team for Dealer Synergy sell product or like that, but I will have them responding to the leads that come through to set appointments. So I'm going to use them like a BDC team. Think about it. I'm one of the best BDC trainers in the world. I'm now building an off-site Dealer Synergy BDC team. And that's so I put my money where my mouth is. I'm only bringing this to you guys because I've seen it working, and it's working right now for dealers. It's solving a big problem for HR, whether it's cost, it's the substance, it's the aptitude, it's the skill set, it's the results, the reliability. These people are freaking amazing. If anybody would like to have some information on it, I would love to, be able to help you. Just, get with us and say, hey, can you give us some information about the out of the country or Filipino BDC team? How does that work? And we'd be more than happy to help you.
And I will say there's also accountability measures, right, in order to make sure, because some people are kind of like, oh, well, how do I know what they're doing over there all day?
Well, that's a good point, Karen. So one of the things that they do is, like, I'm on Zoom right now. If you're watching this in the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group, you see me, Karen, and LA in a Zoom. So here's what happens. Like the team that has the 36 people in the Philippines, they're all on Zoom. So what happens is that the dealership has a screen, has a TV that's on the wall, and it literally the entire day has the entire team that's in there, which is good because there's chat and there's video. So you're able to look up and every second of the day, you're able to see what your people are working on, and you could communicate with them in real time through Google Chat or Zoom Chat or through this. They also have, it's very simple, voice over IP systems that you don't need to have a physical hard phone. All you need is if you've got a voice over IP, it's a digital line. Karen, you want to explain that?
Yeah, so it's basically they just have a dial pad on their computer that they're able to make these phone calls. And then some systems, they have like call barging. So if you have them live and they need a TO, management can just jump right in, or call whispering, where you can actually let them know, provide feedback while they're literally on the phone call so that they can say specific things without the other person knowing that you're there.
So literally, if I am in New Jersey and I ran Bradley Automotive in New Jersey with my team here, Karen in LA, and the rest of our married people, right? So I could have a BDC team in the Philippines that has access to my CRM, that has a voice over IP phone system, that's got extensions, and literally they work during our business hours. They're 100% in Zoom. A lot of you dealers don't even have surveillance on your employees right now. I know some BDCs, have it, but most dealerships don't even have video or visual access to their salespeople or BDCs, in real time. This way, literally through Zoom, you would have access the entire time, the entire day, to see what your people are doing. And they're literally like a regular agent. They're just in a different country, making phone call after phone call after phone call, email after email, text message after text message, TO through TO. I mean, it's like having a
In a
dealer
lot of ways,
group.
there's a lot more accountability, right? Because expectations are laid out. There's
Transparency.
requirements, there's transparency. So it's been really effective for a lot of our dealerships.
LA, you want to add any piece to that?
No, I mean, you guys are laying it out there. I think if a person doesn't get it yet, then they just ain't. This ain't for them. They ain't serious about saving money. Putting themselves in position to actually experience what a high quality teammate is really like. And I'm only saying that if you don't already have high quality teammates. If you already got high quality folks, if you're already making all the money, you're already maximizing on your budgets and everything like that, and okay, then this ain't for you. But if you're the kind of person, right? If you're saying, hey, you know what, I'd like to have a little bit more transparency with my BDC. I'd like to, maybe if I'm going to reward someone, I'd rather reward them in the form of commissions and things like that. I don't want to be strapped down to paying somebody, $15, $16, $17 an hour, right? I mean, listen, don't get me started on that conversation anyway. Lazy Americans, sometimes, man, we want to get paid to sit there and look pretty when that doesn't make a dime for the dealership, right? But folks that are, like I said, in some of these overseas places, they want to actually contribute. And so when they learn and they train, they put themselves in position to actually do it, man, I'm telling you, it's a win-win for everybody. Talking about 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
I absolutely love it. So LA, here's an idea that we could do for a podcast. Maybe what we could do is have Jenna on the show just to turn on and talk, and maybe one of the Philippine BDC reps. I would love to be able to do a podcast just so we could turn around and build value and show the people, have conversations, talk about what works, what doesn't work, yada, 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 and kind of go from there. What do you think?
It could introduce you to them, right? That way you're like, I don't know if I really believe you. Okay, cool. We'll just introduce you to them. No problem.
All right, LA. I want to close a little bit differently today. I want to just go over a couple of things that I said this, and these are not just because they're our sponsors or what have you. I do business with people I respect. I'm not a whore, so I don't just sign up with vendors that I don't believe in. Like if I'm going to allow you to rep the Orange or rep IS20G, I have to feel comfortable with your product or service.
Yeah, we go through a screening process.
100%. We have a vetting process and screening process, for our brand holds value. Our brand has integrity to it. And with that being said, I want to just take time to say that, there are resources out there. Let's go through what I think are just some incredible resources. I mentioned a couple of them before. First and foremost, as we're in December, right, you are going to need opportunities to do business. You're going to need a certain amount of leads. You can't sell a car to nobody, right? So what I would say to you is that internet leads are the most cost-effective opportunity, anywhere from $150 to $200 per car sold. Okay, so they could cost anywhere from $15 to $20 per lead, $150 to $200 per car sold. A couple lead source providers that I recommend straight up will be AutoWeb. AutoWeb, was formerly AutoBytel. They own CarSmart, Dealix, Car.com, AutoUSA, AutoVantage, and obviously AutoWeb. They do new and used car leads. If you need leads, I think AutoWeb's a great source. Another great source is Cars Direct and Auto Credit Express for special finance. Another great special finance lead service would be, Interactive Financial or carloan.com. They're not even a sponsor. Just let you know right now, they're not even a sponsor. I'm just saying that they got good special finance leads with our dealers. If you have any type of need for acquisition or used cars, VinQ is one of the best things out there. You want to replace your vAuto problem or your Outlook problem or what have you, VinQ is an incredible, company. Now, I am a world-class phone trainer. And I am, teach process, inbound, outbound, objections, rebuttals, qualifying. But one of the tools that I love to use for my clients is Call Review. They have the best call tracking mechanism. They have the best call software out there, and our dealers love it. It's extremely effective, and it's way more cost effective from companies like Car Wars and things like that. Now, in addition to that, as far as like websites go, if you have a problem with your website, if you don't have enough organic traffic, if it's not, working the right way, you want to take a look at the people at Dealer eProcess. Dealer eProcess has got the world's best automotive websites. They also do digital marketing, SEO and SEM. But I'm going to tell you, my people at Search Labs are like, that's what they specialize in. Their name says it, search. Organic search engine optimization and paid search. I would also say, if you need help with credit, 700 Credit is going to be phenomenal. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I've got a lot of other people, but I wanted to just give a hard stop right there and say, I appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. Love you.
Absolutely. It's your turn. Go out there and be a millionaire car salesman. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
So there you have it, the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. This podcast comes to you every week from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you have a question about the show or would like the chance to become a guest, feel free to contact us directly at 856-546-2440 or email us at millionairecarsalesman@gmail.com. This program is a presentation of Synergy Records, produced by Tiana Mick and L.A. Williams. Production and engineering by L.A. Williams. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is hosted every week by L.A. Williams and the Millionaire Car Salesman himself, Sean V. Bradley. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast can be found everywhere, so please don't forget to review, subscribe to, and share the show. Thanks for listening to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, and remember, where I'm from, money provides options. If you enjoyed this podcast, then make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave us a review. Let some other folks know about it. Oh, and don't forget to join the Millionaire Car Salesman group on Facebook. We'll see you there.